So we're here on a roof doing a semi-annual. We have a very unique kind of maintenance program where we actually go through and test contactors, capacitors, amp draws on motors so that we don't have stupid critical system breakdowns. I'm not pretending to sell no breakdowns, but I can tell you numerically, I can prove that I'm selling way less breakdowns, because I have been under contract for a year and a half at this location, and we have not had one emergency call on the walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, or either HVAC unit, except for in the winter when the gas valve froze. So doing the prevention a couple times a year and changing, like, you know, that contactor got changed, I believe, last October. I do see some marking on the wires. So we'll put the thermal on. We'll make sure we don't have any voltage drops or loose connections or anything funny. Yeah, but the defrost clock, it is about 9:40. Yeah, so that's, the clock is still right, running good time. Again, we'll put the thermal on everything. And then, moreover, we'll go ahead and put the amp clamp on the fan motors. Make sure we're not over amping, or are we off right now on a fan cycle? That fan's not running, but I think it may be on its own fan cycle. So what I was gonna say was, I took this panel and I leaned it up against here, and then this exhaust fan motor started. So this wasn't running. Oh, look at here. Here's the old ones from last time. I didn't clean up my mess properly. I'm not gonna put that on anyone else. I did that in October. Boo. So, definitely wanna see if this fan's just off on a fan cycle, and get some amp draws, see what's going on. All right, so I put a panel in front. That's gonna drive up my head pressure. That motor is not locked up. It is not hot to the touch. I believe my condensing fan, optional fan cycle control from T2 and T3. But I want to see it run, so again, driving up the head pressure now. But if that fan is dead, which I don't think it is, I think it's gonna wake up. It's a nice cool morning, it's 40 degrees. But if that fan is dead, this is the kind of PM thing. Ooh, she just shut down. Did she shut down on high temp, or did she shut down because she's satisfied? She didn't shut down on high temp. I want to see that fan run, but I'm going to go ahead and disconnect it, chase the wires, and see exactly which one of these controls it. Schematic says it comes off 2 and 3, so it'll be easy enough. So here's what I found out when I chased the wires back. You've got one leg that's run straight back to terminal 1, which isn't what the diagram shows, but that's fine. Both fans have one leg coming through terminal 1. And then the other fan is not on a fan cycle. It runs all the time off of leg number 2. And this yellow wire is what runs to the fan cycle and doubles back to the other side of that fan. So this is why I love these inlines. I changed it. It had a 2-prong Wago, a side-by-side. So I changed it to this. I mark it fan cycle, and now I've got a port that I can test when the system's running. I can put one terminal on one, my other probe here, and if I've got 208, then I know I'm getting 208 to my motor. But I'm not gonna have 208 because I'm gonna be in a fan cycle correct shut off. But we'll see. I put it in a defrost, I flipped some switches just to drive the temperature up in the box. Probably gonna go grab my stubby gauge just so I can hook on and see what the head pressure is when I'm driving it up. But yeah, So I like the inlines, man. They let you test, especially on pressure controls. If I have to change a pressure control or anything, I put these inlines on, because again, you can mark them, and then you can test across them without having to monkey with anything. All right, so I'm in 1 and what should be 3 coming out of the pressure switch, but I essentially have 0 volts. And I got nothing. And you're like, well, that's weird. Shouldn't I have something? Well, sure. If you test that to ground, you got 120. This is ghost voltage, guys. Right? When it's like, well, I don't understand. If I test this to 3, I'm gonna have 208, because that's on either side of my pressure switch. If I test it to 1, I get 0. What's happening is line 1 is running into that fan through the windings and back and sitting right here. If I were to unhook this, I actually have my voltage here, and this is line 1. And then if I tested what was coming out of the switch, you would have 0. Now, once the switch closes, we send this through the system, and then we'd get 208 and that fan would start. Again, I need to see that fan start to know that it works. So I'm gonna block this and go grab my gauge and see if we can't drive the head pressure high enough for it to fire off. We do have some sight glass bubbling. So that's not good. Now granted, it also could be because I've got the coil blocked. We'll see how it responds. All right, let me stop murdering the system. There it goes. Now I just want to see that we're running 1 amp or less. Yes, sir. 0.75. That one was running 0.95. They're rated for 1.1. This unit gets a clean bill of health. I did check the capacitors, make sure they're good. And that one cycles off again. That's what it's supposed to do. I've left the grate off of this for a little while. It's warmed up. It's going to be 60 today. It almost is. I just want to see this run. And when it does cycle, the sight glass is still flashing. So we'll end up throwing a splash of gas in this just to make sure we don't have any issue until we get back here next time. Long ago when I first took over, so a year and a half. I think we literally just signed the contract with them. I had come and fixed some things, and the walk-in cooler went down. And it was something like I was here all day working on ice cream machines and their chain broiler, and I didn't mess with anything else. And then I left, which is like an hour away from here, and that night their walk-in crashed, and it was out of gas. So I did find issue at the Schrader's. I should have to go back. I have a video of it. I didn't find anything like, I assumed they would be here and they weren't. And I think I replaced the low side Schrader or something. But, you know, so over the course of a year and a half, wherever our leak is, still happening. If at a very slow clip. So anyway, we'll gas this thing up. She'll be good to go. Alright, I haven't hooked up high side yet, but yeah, we can definitely see that we're running low pressure, 15. Should be more at 25 PSI, I'm sorry. Alright, I got my bottle open. I'm gonna purge until I get liquid. There we go. And I don't care about the pressures. I'm just going to clear the sight glass. TXV and see if our coil's frozen up. It's still running very low pressure, lower than we should. Clear sight class. And it's the head pressure I would expect on a 58-degree morning. I was in the process of checking compressor superheat, and it started pumping down. So, but I was running about 40 degrees of superheat. Up here, you're gonna want about 20. So either way, I think I need to open up that TXV a little bit. I don't like monkeying with TXVs. I may just give it one little tap, see what it does. Open her up, get it running more like 20 psi instead of 14. So we'll get it figured.